Millions of Americans run on 6 hours of sleep and genuinely believe that's enough. But here's what's shocking. Researchers at UC Berkeley found that just 1 week of 6-hour nights produces brain impairment equal to being legally drunk. You feel fine on 6 hours, right? But what if your brain is already broken and you simply can't tell? That's the terrifying part. Your brain loses the ability to accurately measure its own decline. So let's talk about exactly what 6 hours is doing to your brain right now, tonight, and what you can actually do about it. Let's get into exactly what's happening inside your skull when you sleep 6 hours a night. Most people think sleep is just rest. Your body goes quiet, your brain shuts off, and you recharge like a phone plugged into the wall. That's not even close to what's actually happening. Here's what the science tells us. Your brain runs through roughly 4 to 5 complete sleep cycles every night. Each cycle is about 90 minutes long. And here's where it gets really important. The last 2 cycles of the night are dominated by something called REM sleep. That's when your brain does its most critical work: memory consolidation, emotional processing, cognitive repair. But when you cut your night short at 6 hours, you're not just losing a little sleep, you're almost completely eliminating those final 2 cycles. Think about that for a second. You're skipping the most valuable part of the night every single night. Now let's talk about something even more alarming: the glymphatic system. During deep sleep, your brain literally shrinks slightly and opens up channels that flush out toxic waste proteins. One of those proteins is called amyloid beta. You might recognize that name. It's the same protein that accumulates in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. And the only time your brain can effectively clear it out is when you're in deep, uninterrupted sleep. 6 hours? You're not getting enough of that flush cycle. You're essentially leaving the trash out night after night. Now, this is where Matthew Walker's research at UC Berkeley absolutely stopped me in my tracks. His team found that people running on 6-hour sleep schedules showed cognitive performance equivalent to being legally drunk. Here's the crazy part though. Those same people rated themselves as barely impaired. They felt fine. They thought they were crushing it. The reality is they were operating at a fraction of their actual capacity, and their brain was too damaged to recognize the difference. This is why is 6 hours of sleep enough is such a dangerous question, because your impaired brain will confidently tell you yes, even when the answer is absolutely not. The scarier part? The more sleep-deprived you are, the less capable your brain becomes of measuring how far it has fallen. You lose your ability to see your own decline. And if that's what a few nights of 6 hours sleep does to you, wait until you hear what happens when this becomes your lifestyle for months or years. So we've talked about what happens in a single night of 6 hours sleep, but here's where it gets genuinely terrifying. What happens when that becomes your normal, week after week, month after month, year after year? Running on 6 hours every night is like slowly draining the oil from your engine. The car still runs for a while, but underneath the surface, something is breaking down that you can't see, can't feel, and absolutely cannot ignore forever. Let's talk about what chronic short sleep is actually doing to your body across 3 major systems. First, your brain. And I don't mean foggy thinking or slow mornings. I mean structural, physical changes to your brain tissue. A landmark 2021 study published in Nature Communications tracked over 7,000 people across nearly 25 years. The finding was extraordinary. People who consistently slept 6 hours or less in midlife raised their dementia risk by 30%. Not a little, 30%. And it wasn't just memory loss they were looking at. Researchers found measurable shrinkage in the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and rational thinking. So if you feel like your judgment has been off lately, like you can't think clearly, like everything feels harder than it should, this is why. Second, your hormones. And this one hits men especially hard. Studies show that men sleeping just 5 to 6 hours a night lose up to 15% of their testosterone. Let that sink in. That's the hormonal equivalent of aging 10 to 15 years overnight. But that's not all. Even worse, cortisol, your primary stress hormone, spikes dramatically on short sleep schedules. Your body doesn't know you have a packed calendar and a deadline tomorrow morning. It thinks you're running from a predator, and it responds accordingly, flooding your system with cortisol, locking your body into a state of high alert. You might think you're being productive by sleeping less. Your brain thinks you're surviving a crisis. Not only that, but this cortisol spike also triggers insulin resistance patterns that mirror pre-diabetic markers. You're not just tired, you're metabolically compromised. Third, your mental health. And this one is a loop that traps millions of people. Here's what the research shows. Sleep deprivation causes the amygdala, your brain's emotional alarm system, to fire 60% more aggressively in response to negative stimuli. 60%! That means everything feels more threatening, more overwhelming, more hopeless than it actually is. And here's the brutal part: anxiety and depression then make it harder to sleep, which makes the anxiety and depression worse, which makes sleep even harder. It's a cycle that feeds itself, and poor sleep is often the original spark that nobody talks about. Now, some of you might be thinking, okay, I'll just sleep in on the weekend and fix this. I have to be direct with you. That is not how sleep debt works. Research is very clear on this. You cannot fully repay chronic sleep debt with a long Saturday morning. The cognitive damage, the hormonal disruption, the structural brain changes, these accumulate over time. Weekend recovery sleep gives you a partial bounce back in mood and alertness, but the deeper biological debt, it keeps building. So here's where we land right now. The evidence is overwhelming. Is 6 hours of sleep enough? Is not actually a lifestyle question. It's a biology question. And biology doesn't negotiate. But I know what you're thinking right now, and it's the right question. What's the actual number I should be hitting? And more importantly, how do I know if I've already built up serious sleep debt without even realizing it? Because remember, your impaired brain will confidently tell you that you're fine. So you need an objective way to measure this. That's exactly what we're covering next: the real target, the warning signs of hidden sleep debt, and the first practical steps you can take starting tonight. So here's where everything changes. We've spent time inside the science: the broken brain, the hormonal collapse, the structural damage building quietly in the background. Now, let's talk about what you can actually do, starting tonight. And the first thing I want to destroy is an oversimplification that's been floating around forever: the idea that everyone needs exactly 8 hours. That's not quite right. Sleep need is biological and it's personal. It's shaped by genetics, age, lifestyle, and something researchers call your chronotype, your body's natural timing preference for sleep and wakefulness. Now, you might have heard the argument: some people are just built for 6 hours. And here's the honest truth. That's real, but it's extremely rare. Scientists have identified a specific genetic mutation called the ADRB1 gene that allows certain people to function fully on around 6 to 6.5 hours of sleep. But here's the number: only about 3% of the population carries that mutation. 3%! So if you're watching this video and thinking, maybe that's me, statistically, almost certainly it's not you. You're not a genetic exception. You're just adapted to feeling worse than you should. So how do you find your actual number? There's a simple method researchers call the sleep saturation test. Here's how it works. For 7 to 10 nights in a row, go to bed at the same time every night and remove your alarm. No alarm. Track when you naturally wake up each morning. By night 4 or 5, your body will settle into its true biological rhythm. That natural wake time is your actual sleep need, not what your schedule allows, not what you're used to, what your biology actually requires. Now, what if you've already been running a 6-hour schedule for months? You have sleep debt, and it's deeper than you think. Research shows it takes approximately 4 nights to recover from a single night of short sleep. Do the math. 1 week of 6-hour nights creates a debt that takes nearly a month to fully clear. That's not meant to overwhelm you. It's meant to show you that one good weekend sleep doesn't cut it. So here are 3 concrete actions you can take right now. Step 1, set your bedtime 30 minutes earlier tonight. Just 30 minutes. Don't overhaul everything at once. One small shift tonight is more powerful than a perfect plan you never follow. Step 2, kill the weekend sleep-in habit. I know it feels good, but sleeping in Saturday morning pushes your circadian clock forward and makes Monday morning feel like jet lag. Consistency in your wake time matters more than total hours chased on weekends. Step 3, track your sleep for 7 days before trying to fix anything else. Use a free app, even just your phone's native health app. You cannot improve what you haven't measured. Get your real baseline first, then build from there. Here's the reframe I want you to leave with today. You don't have a sleep problem. You have a sleep math problem. And now you know the equation. Your brain has a biological need. You've been under-delivering on it. And the gap between those 2 numbers is showing up as fog, mood swings, slow thinking, and a body that's quietly falling apart. But the gap is closable. And unlike most health challenges, this one has a free solution that works every single night. If you want to go deeper on exactly how to rebuild your sleep system from the ground up, including the circadian rhythm protocols that make falling asleep faster almost automatic, that video is right here. Watch it next. Your future brain will genuinely thank you. So here's the reality. 6 hours of sleep isn't a badge of honor. It's a slow leak destroying your brain from the inside out. Now you know the science. Drop a comment right now. How many hours are you actually getting each night? Be honest, I read every single one. And if you want to know how to actually fix your sleep, not just random tips, but the exact protocol your brain needs, the next video breaks down the full system. Seriously, don't miss it. If this opened your eyes, subscribe. Every week, I break down the science of sleep into strategies you can apply tonight. I'll see you in the next one.